Uh, Hello guys, good morning. Today in this session, we are going to understand about the SQL awareness session. So as a business analyst, SQL is necessary or not? So we should just go through that in the complete in this session. So as a business analyst, we need SQL or not? So we should understand everything in this SQL session. So the agenda of this session is first we have to understand about the introduction to SQL. So first we should understand what SQL is and what is the use of SQL tool to a BA. And next we are going to understand about the what is database and what is the importance of the database and what are the two types of the databases are there. And next we are going to understand about the what is the difference between the DBMS and RDBMS. So in the SQL, like most of the companies will use the DBMS and RDBMS. What is the difference between the DBMS and RDBMS? And why SQL is important for the business analyst? Then after that, we are going to use the SQL tool. We are going to create some basic queries. We are going to create the SQL tables by using the SQL command, basic commands. So this is first, this is just awareness of the SQL. Is the business analyst need to learn SQL or not? So introduction to SQL. SQL is a structured query language is used to communicate with the databases. So according to the ANSI, American National Standard Institute, it is a standard language for relational database management system. So basically this SQL is connected with the relational databases. The relational databases we call as an Oracle, like a MongoDB. These are the some relational databases. So by using this SQL, we connect to one database to another database with the help of the relational databases. For example, if you want to buy any product in the Amazon application, so already in the Amazon application, that data will be organized in the very structure format. So in that structure format, then after that, the data will be molded into as a tables in the tabular format and the rows format. Then for example, if you want to buy any product in the Amazon, for example, if you click on the mobile feature, so if you click on the mobile feature, automatically you will get the visible to related the mobiles. So because of in the backend process, already the data is will be organized in the structure way. So that is the reason we use the SQL. And next, it is a language used to perform actions such as update, retrieve, manipulate, and store the data in a relational database. What does it mean? So update, for example, if already we have a data in the SQL database, if you want to update the new data, so you can use the update command, you can update the data. And retrieve, if you want to retrieve the data, if you want to if you want to get the guys, please mute all yours. Okay. Retrieve. So if you want to get the data from the one database to another database, if you want to move the database into another database, at that time, you're going to use the retrieve. And manipulate. Manipulate is nothing but, so if you want to get the data based on the data, based on the data as a business analyst, we are going to prepare the some reports. So we can change the data from the one place to another place. We can clean the data. We can sort out the data by using the manipulate and the store the data in the relational database. By using this all these commands, we are going to manage the data into and create the data into different reports. I will show you moving forward everything. I will be using the tool also. And next we are going to understand about the what is database. So this is a very important. Before learning the SQL, make sure how to learn the database. So what is the database? So database is a location where data is stored in a certain format. So certain format in the sense, for example, if you want to fill any KYC form, so if you enter your name, mobile number, email, all this will be connected into a data into databases. Every name, number, everyone is a data. So this data will be stored in the database. So a data is usually controlled by the DBMS. This data will be controlled by the actually the DBMS, database management system, in the backend process. And the most common types of database in operations today is typically molded into the rows and the columns in a series of tables to make the processing and data querying efficient. Like when coming to this, in this like Excel sheets, Google sheets, these are also in the form of the tables and columns. So when coming to the SQL databases, this SQL databases is the most of the organization will be created in the form of the rows and the columns. So it will be make easy to get the data and to create the reports in the very efficiently. So So first we have to understand the what is the difference between the databases and the spreadsheets. Databases and the spreadsheets such as Microsoft Excel. So you all know aware on the like spreadsheets like Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, right? So the both the like spreadsheets and the database are the both the to store the information to enter the data. Then what is the difference between the database and the spreadsheets? The primary difference between the two are spreadsheets are originally designed for the one user. For example, if you enter the Excel data, if you want to enter a data into Excel, so that data will be like, if, for example, at a time we can use the multiple layers, the data will be not accepted at the time. For example, if you share the Excel sheet to the someone person, you also same working on the same sheet, it will be clumsy, right? Same when coming to the database will be allowed to the multiple users at a time, not 10 members or 20 members. It's not any limit. If you have access to the database, you can anyone can enter into the database, anyone can access that data. Anyone actually in the organization, no one has give the access to enter the database. I'm just giving the example. The database allows the multiple users. If you haven't right access, if you haven't correct user, if you haven't correct password, if you want to enter the some data into particular databases, make sure you can definitely will enter into the databases. When coming to the spreadsheets will be not, it's a standalone application. So we call it a standalone application. I will give you an example of the one standalone application called the Notepad. So when you're writing the Notepad in something, so we can't share to anyone because of the Notepad is useful only the one person. It's a standalone application. Same in the spreadsheets also we call as standalone applications. So that where whatever the data we have stored in the application, we can't like it's not an very complicated data. So it's just you can normally track our data, just you can't generate the reports, all these things. When coming to the SQL database, we get the data from the SQL database, which you can create the different reports by using the different analytics tools. So this is the major difference between the database and spreadsheets. So now we are going to understand about this, what is the difference between the like DBMS and RDBMS. So data in the DBMS, the data stored in the file format. Like when like the XML, like a Microsoft Access, the file format like MS Excel, MS Word. These are all we call as a DBMS. Today, most of the in the previously, like most of the organizations will use the DBMS format. Now, today, most of the organization will use the RDBMS. Today, in this market, we have an different tools like MongoDBs and cloud database, MySQL server, SQL, have a different Oracle. These are the different relational databases. By using the SQL server, we are going to integrate it with these SQL servers by using the relational databases. So in the DBMS, the data stored in the file format. So when coming to this RDBMS, the data stored in the table format. So as I explained in the earlier, so when we are creating a data into Excel sheets, so the data will be converted into the file format. So when creating the RDBMS in the data as like SQL database, Oracle, whatever that, so it's a converted the data into the tabular format. When coming to the database, when coming to the DBMS, the data is stored in a small amount. When coming to the RDBMS, data is stored in the large amount. So I will give you an example, the difference between the DBMS and RDBMS. So in the Excel.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, data stored in the file format means which, I mean, is it a descriptive thing or?
Wait, I will explain it. So, for example, data will be stored in the like in the file format in the sense. For example, if you enter the data in the Excel sheets, after entering that Excel sheet, if you want to store the data, you can simply click on the file, and then after that you can click on the save that file. So if the file is converted into it's a format of the file format in the DBS format. XML, it's we call an XML. It's a DBMS format. So when coming to the RDBMS, if you want to store the data, it will be converted into the tables and rows. Whatever that, if you want to create in the when coming to the DBMS, if you want to create the file, like if you want to save the file into your system like MS Word, MS Excel, PowerPoint, whatever that, it will be all be converted to the DBMS format. When coming to the RDBMS, it will be converted into the tables and rows format. And the data, and next point is that data is stored in the small amount and data is stored in the large amount. So when coming to this Excel sheet, we have a limit to enter that particular data. So when coming to the RDBMS, here there is no limit to enter the data. So let's take an example, Amazon. Amazon has a own data center in the Hyderabad, right? So it's a store the data in the large amount of data in the databases. So here there is no limit. You can enter the data in the n number of the databases, n number of tables. There is no limit in the databases. So every company will maintain the databases in the backend process. They have own the databases, they have own servers, everything will be there in the backend database by using the servers like Oracle, SQL Server, MongoDB. These are the different RDBMS. And DBMS support the single users and RDBMS support the multiple users. As I explained in the earlier, so we call as an example. I will give an example as notepad. Same here also, the DBMS will support the only the single users. When coming to the RDBMS, we have an right access. Definitely, we can get the enter into the database. We can modify the data. And no connection between the data in the DBMS. When coming to the RDBMS, the data in the form of a table are linked together. So when coming to this, for example, if you prepare a data in the Excel sheet, so here there is no chance to between these connection between the one table to another table. So when coming to the RDBMS, we can 100% we can connect the one table to another table by using the joins. We can connect the one table to another table. I will show you moving slides like how this will be connected each other in the RDBMS.
The
So-
screen I cannot see, sir.
Guys, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Nilesh,
Yes, sir.
once you play check from your side.
Yes.
I cannot see, sir.
Okay, you can log out and you can join.
Okay, sir.
No connection between the data. So in the form of the linked together in the Excel sheet here, there is no like to connection between the to connect the one data one table to another table. When coming to the RDBS, we have a chance to connect with the one database to another and the data. Based on that, we are going to prepare the reports. So when coming to this DBMS, the software and hardware requirements are the higher. When coming to the RDBMS, the software and hardware requirements are the low. So if you want in the DBMS, for example, I will give you an example again, the MS Excel. If you want to access that MS Excel, if you make sure how to buy the Microsoft Windows license, right? When coming to the RDBMS in the SQL Server, these are the most of the softwares and hardwares requirements are slow. Like these are the like most of the free SQL services. Hello.
Sir, for RDBMS, we need to maintain large amount of servers and all. That
Yes,
is
exactly.
considered under hardware only, no, sir.
Yes, exactly.
So how can we say low?
Sorry.
So here you mentioned like the software and hardware requirements are low, no, sir.
Hmm.
For servers and all, we need to maintain a large amount of servers. We need to maintain. How can we say hardware requirements are
No,
low?
here the not maintain the servers is not the thing. So the backend database stored in the process, we call as a process. We call as an the physical components of the servers. We call as a process, right? We call in a process. We call as not the physical servers.
Okay. While dealing with the RDBMS, we will involvement is low. Okay.
Yes, yes. Okay, and multiple data elements are accessible together and individual access of data elements. So in the like in the DBMS, we have in the multiple data elements to sort out the data. When coming to the RDBMS, we have an commands to access the data. So the DBMS, for example, the DBMS example are the XML, Microsoft Access. When coming to the RDBMS, Oracle, SQL Server, all these we consider as a RDBMS in the relational database management system. And XML, Microsoft Access, these are the database management system.
Sir, individual access means what, sir?
So for example, guys, someone is mute. Please mute yourselves. Individual access is nothing but, for example, if you we are working on one organization, you are a database administrator, right? So you are a database administration, your access will know your CEO. but you don't know the access. You are joined in the new in the company. So you want that access. Your CEO will give the access. Your CEO will give the username and password, particular the database. So you can use that database. You can modify the data. You can arrange the data. You can organize the data. So without the particular username and password, we can't access that particular database in the RDBMS.
Okay, then in DBMS multiple data elements in DBMS.
Multiple data elements in the is nothing but in the database you have to add the different colors. If you want to add the different elements, like if you want to use in the pivot chart, we can use the different change the elements over there. So when coming to the database, we don't have a chance to add the different colors over there.
Sir, but what is meant by individual access?
Individual access is nothing but, for example, if you are working on a project, so you need to, for example, let's take an example as a business analyst. You are working on a project. Basically, the business analyst will not at all involve in this all SQL. The business analyst will only use the read. The business analyst will read the data, and based on that, the business analyst will prepare the reports. So individual access is nothing but, for example, I am a database administrator. You are a business analyst. So you are requesting the access to the particular database. So at that time, I'm giving the data, I'm giving to you access to the database. So without my permission, you can't access the database because of I have the credentials of that particular database. This is the individual access to the each person. So without the database administration permission, you can't access the data because of every data is a confidential. For example, if you change the any data in the Amazon application, the complete Amazon application will be collapsed, right? So the database is a very confidential, and it is a very well maintained, organized in the backend process.
Then in third point, how we can say it support multiple users in what way?
In which MS Excel, right?
RDMS. Third point, RDABMS supports multiple users. You are saying individual access should be. In what way? How it supports multiple users?
If any need required, actually the database administrators are no one has give the access to anyone. So if any need, for example, if you need with the database, if you want to prepare the databases, if you want to create the reports, like if you want, for example, if you are working on a company, you are the employee, so you want to monthly report of your progress of the particular month. At that time, the concerning person, your team lead or the particular concern, they will give the access. The database administrator will give the access. The data, your team lead will create the reports based on the data, your monthly activities. At that time, you can enter in the multiple users at that time.
Sir,
Are DBMS are particularly types? Can you please explain on that?
Sorry.
DBMS are particularly types.
DBMS is very simple. DBMS is nothing but every file will be DBMS will be converted to the file format. For example, if you're creating the MS Word file, after saving that file, it will be converted in the file format, right? Like a PDF or MS Word format. This is we call as a DBMS.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, now we are going to understand about the SQL fundamental functions of the databases and the parts of the database, sir. So this is a very important CRUD, we call as a CRUD. So the business analyst will not at all create any database in the SQL, and the business analyst will only read the databases.
So basically, they would be working on RDMS, not on DBMS.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Guys, this is the session is recording. If you are not aware on that, make sure the session is also available in the recording will be available in the library section. Once you can go through that, you can listen that. Because of I'm moving to the almost the 5 slides. And the read, the business analyst will have only access to read the data. So the business analyst will not at all create, update and delete the data. Because of they don't need to enter into the data, the business analyst will mostly work on the application development, like any domain research, market enterprise analysis, and market research. These type of the activities the BA will do. If the BA will need the data, because of the BA will prepare the reports, like it's a market trends. For example, if you want to build any e-commerce application, like what are the market trends in the current scenario, like they will just understand about the market trends and the based on the backend process, based on the databases in the backend, previously enter the customer details and customer's perspection, location. Based on that, the BA will prepare some sample reports over there. For example, Flipkart is one company. So Flipkart they start in the like their services into the USA. So first Flipkart, before starting their services in the USA, the Flipkart first understand about the the people culture and the interest in the which food they want to like, everything they will consider that. So after that, the company will start their service in the that particular company, particular country, right? Same here, same here also, the business analyst will prepare the reports before starting the project. Like they will understand the process. For example, my client want to prepare some reports like what is the trend now in the market. So they will prepare some basic reports. The BA will not at all involved in all the SQL to write the queries and update all these things. Just I'm explaining to understand about the market trends when we are building an applications. And now we are going to understand about the why SQL is important for the business analyst. So this is the data extraction, data manipulation, reporting. These are the activities BA will do. Like most of the organization will not at all prefer this SQL, as the BA will not enter into this SQL tool. Like 90% of the companies will not use this SQL to attach the business analyst. Because of these activities will be taken by the developers when you are working on a project.
Sir,
Why?
like basically, sorry to interrupt, but basically like so data crunching and data,
That's
this
what I'm
manipulation.
just a moment. I will explain it. Why BA is important then. So first one is the data extraction. So business analysts need to extract data from the various resources to gain insights into business operations. So as I explained in the earlier, so as a business analyst, first they extract the data from the databases. Based on that, the BA will prepare the insights and the performance of the previous previous data inputs. They will make a right decision how we want to move to the next step for the business operations. And coming to the data manipulations, so business analysts can use the SQL to sort, filter groups, and aggregate data to gain the instant and understand the latest trends. So here the data manipulation is nothing but, for example, if you want to start a new business, so already we have an previous data. You buy a data from other resources. So based on that report, you can sort out that data. You can clean that data. Based on that, you have to understand the consumer perspective, what are the products they want to purchase that, and how much time to spend on the online. So these are all they consider, and based on that, they will manipulation that data. They will prepare that. They will understand the trends of the current scenario in the market. So the business analyst will not enter the data and update all these things. The business analyst will understand about the data. It's a reading purpose. And the reporting, this is a very important. The business analyst often need to generate reports to communicate their finding to stakeholders. So as I explained in the earlier, if the client they want to prepare and reports like to understand the market trends, at that time the business analyst will understand about the SQL to create some basic reports. SQL enables to create the custom that contains the specific data and insights needed by the stakeholders. So according to the stakeholder needs everything, so the BA will prepare the basic reports to understand the better understanding of the project and the better understanding of the current market trend. So the client don't know, right? The client don't know how it's work and how the application, what is the back end process of the process. So as a business analyst, first as a business analyst, we will prepare that basic concepts to create the basic reports, and as a business analyst, we are going to understand going to present to the client. So the client also will easily understand that what are the tasks we are going to do in a project, like how it goes. So everything we are going to explain in the project. This is why we are going to use the SQL. Like in the COEPD, where most of the participants will not at all work on the SQL. Like daily we are placing the students in the most of the students, they are not getting on the interview assistance for the SQL. I'm facing on the SQL queries, all these things. They are asking only the related to the business analysis concepts. They are not asking about the SQL. So as a business analyst, make sure you have to aware on the what exactly is SQL, because of in the future, in the moving forward in the future also, this will help you, right? So make sure how to just create an awareness of the what exactly is SQL and how it's work. And by using the SQL, we are going to like what are the SQL
So in
executions?
SQL language, BA need to prepare documents.
Sorry.
In SQL language, BA need to prepare documents.
The BA will, based on the data, the BA will not prepare the document. Based on the data, the BA will prepare the like basic reports by using the reporting tools. Like the Power BI Tableau, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
the BA will access by using the reporting tool. Guys, please, someone is talking. So based on that, the BA will prepare the reports. So for basic understanding, we just understand about the what are the SQL executions and what can SQL do. So SQL can execute queries against a database, and SQL can retrieve data from the databases. So SQL can get the data from the databases and it will be molded into the it's a right decision making format. And SQL can insert records in your database. If you want to insert the data into a database, you can use the insert command. You can insert the data into your tables and update. If you want to update the existing database, you can update the existing database. And if you want to delete the records on the table, so records in the sense, for example, if you want to delete a one particular field, so at that time you're going to use the delete command. You can use the delete command. You can delete the records. And if you want to create the new database, you can create the create command. You can create the new databases. If you want to create a new tables in the SQL, you can create the new tables and you can create the number of tables in the SQL. So, and SQL can create the store processor in the database. Like store processor is nothing but how the data will be stored in the backend process. It's a structure format. When we are creating the store processor will be guide you how the data will be in the exact format in the backend process. And SQL can create view in a database. So this is this is a very important create the view. So the business analyst, the first how to understand about the databases, how it's look like in the backend process. So SQL can set the permissions on table, process and the views. So if you want to access that, make sure you have to get the permission from your authority. Then only you can access the data. Because of every data is a very confidential. It will be organized in the well structured way in the backend process. So make sure these are the like a few SQL executions. If you want to learn the SQL, we can learn the SQL. So this is as a business analyst, make sure how to just create an awareness of the SQL.
So as a business, hello.
Hmm.
So, sir, as a business analyst, a basic SQL would be needed, or null points, or null factor
Yeah,
set, or
that is the reason I'm explaining you. So just a basic awareness in this, just to create the awareness how it's work. First, you have to understand the what is SQL, what is database, and how it's work, how the data will be stored in the backend process. It's a basic awareness. So when you are entering the process, automatically you are closely work with the developers, right? At that time, if you want to learn the SQL, you can definitely will learn the SQL. But before entering to the as a aspiring business analyst, so before entering to the like projects, make sure you have to create the awareness of the SQL. This is my suggestion. And when coming to these tables in SQL, so tables in SQL are termed or called as a mentioned below. A row is called as a record. See, this is all we call as a record. And a column is called a field. This is the one field. Name Will Smith is this particular is the one field. A unique key and identifiers as a table row. I will explain you the unique key and primary key and identifiers in the by showing the practical in the SQL. So this is the table how the look likes in the backend process of the SQL table. So for example, this is the retail store. This is the retail store of this backend process. For example, these are primary key. So we call as a primary key. This is the primary key. So if you want to connect the one database to another database, at that time we are going to use the foreign key. So actually we not enter into this using all these foreign key, everything. Just is the basic awareness of these tables. See, tables are related by the keys and table keys are used to create the relationship with the table. It must be unique and cannot be null values. So for example, as a customer, you want to buy a product, you want to order a food in the Zomato. So you're automatically after clicking on the book, click on the delivery, automatically you have created the one ID, unique ID. So this unique ID will be directly connected to the restaurant owner. So based on that based on that ID, so I'm not explaining the front end process. I'm explaining the back end process, how it's work. So this ID will connect it to the restaurant ID. So based on that, for example, I may order a food from the some restaurant, so and so restaurant. So automatically when I'm clicking on the delivery, that particular delivery ID will be created in the backend process. That particular delivery ID will be created to connect it with the restaurant owner database. So this is the connection between the one database to another database in the backend process. And foreign keys are used to connect with the tables together and join statement. When we are creating the join statement, we are going to create the using the foreign key to connect the one database to another database. This is how the backend process, the databases will be connected to the one database to another database. I will show you the moving forward. So how it's look like. And before learning, if you want to learn a SQL, make sure how to learn these SQL commands like data definition language. It's a sequence order. If you want to learn a SQL, make sure how to follow these commands. In the what are the commands will be under the DDL, and what are the commands under the DML, what are the commands under the DCL. We have to understand that. So the first one is the data definition language. It's a DDL, and next one is we are going to understand the data manipulation language. And next we are going to understand about this data control language. Then after the final one is we are going to understand about the data query language. So the first one in the data definition language, if you want to learn a SQL, first you have to create the basic awareness of the how to create a table and how to delete the table and how to alter the table, like existing data. If you want to add the any data, you can use the alter table. At that time, you can use all these commands. So DDL commands in the structure query language are used to create and modify the schema. So as I explained in the earlier, schema is nothing but to connect the one database to another database. It's called as an objects. I will show you the sample reference image also. And its object, the syntax of the DDL commands is a free defined for describing the data. The commands of the data definition language deal with the how the data should exist in the databases. So this DDL commands will be create the databases. So how the database will look like will be decide these the DDL commands. So I will show you the one sample reference diagram. See, this is the order item. This is the one object. This is the one database 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 object. First, as a customer, you are ordering the food. It's automatically the customer ID will be created. So this customer ID will be automatically converted into a numbers, integer. We call as a numbers, integers. Then automatically it will be connected to the order ID. So automatically your order ID will be created. Then this order ID will be connected to this next order items, like what are the products you want to select items. So then after that, it's in a process. We have to connect with the one database to another database in the backend process. Then after that, this ID will be moving to the next order item. Then after that, it will be converted to the items ID. This will be matched. See, integers. Both are the integers. It will be connected to the one database to another database in the backend process. Just you have to create the understand about that. You don't go deep into that. Just you have to create that, understand about it, how it's work. And now we're going to understand about the data manipulation language, DML. The DML commands in the structure query language change the data present in the SQL databases. We can easily access, store, modify, and update and delete the existing records from the database using the DML commands. So if you want to see the database in the databases, at that time you're going to use the select command. If you want to insert the data, you can use the insert the command. You can create the data. If you want to update the data, guys, please understand that. So in the SQL, some repeated commands will be used for the same things. For example, if you want to delete a data in the tables, so the drop command is used to delete the complete data. When coming to the delete command is used to only the specific field. For example, I want to delete an employee ID. At that time only I can use the delete command. So when coming to use the drop, so the drop is used to delete the complete database. So once we are while learning the SQL, make sure how to create the awareness of the what is the difference between these commands, repeated commands. and a data control language. So DQL includes the commands such as grant and revoke, which mainly deals with the right permissions and other controls of the database system. So grant, the commands gives the user access the privileges to the database. So as I explained in the here, grant, for example, if you want to access to the database administrator will definitely will give the grant command to access the data. Grant command. And revoke, this command with the withdraw the user access privilege given by the using the grant command. For example, revokes is nothing but, for example, if you don't know how to use the SQL, you are unexpected, you are doing the something in SQL. Immediately the SQL the SQL database administrator will use the revoke command. The SQL commander will withdraw your access by using the DCL commands. And data query language. So DQL statements are used for performing queries on the data within the schema objects. The purpose of the DQL commands is to get some schema relationship. It's an entity relationship we call as an ER diagram. So how the entities will be connected with the one database to another database. We can define DQL as followed as a components of the SQL statement that allow getting the data from the databases and imposing order upon it. It include the select statement. So if you want to see that data into any database, at that time you can use the select command. I will show you in the SQL tool also how to see the data in the databases. So we don't have any like a predefined database because of we don't have an access to the database. I will create the sample data, just a small sample data. I will show you. And this is the entities, how the entities will be connected to the one database to another database. It's a backend process. Completely, it's a backend process. How it's connected to the one entity to another entity. See, this is the one entity, the state provisions. The person will enter the data of the state provisions, the country code, and the name, ID, territory ID, modified date. So everything it's on field. It's an called as an entity. Same in the address also. This person will be converted this address into the same. Automatically, the state provinces will be converted into the address. So based on that, we'll be creating the different formats, different entities here. So as a business analyst, we just understand about the how the databases will be work in the backend process and how it's work, how the database will connect it to the one field to another field. This is the just awareness. Guys, if you want to install the SQL from COEPD side, we are not install the SQL. So we are installing the only the standard tools, the MS Visio and Balsamic Azure, and remaining all the tools you are installing from your own self with the help of your friends, with the help of the any online resources. So if you want to I'm just showing the sample images here, sample screenshot. This is the, I think this is the old format, I think so. So if you want to install the new format, you can use the new format. The SQL server will maintain the 2018, 19, 20, 22 formats also. So based on that, you can install the SQL in your databases. I will show you the sample screenshots here.
Sir, how to install will you guide, sir, for us?
No, we are not guiding that. So you can, with the help of your friends or the any online resources, you can install the SQL tool. So these are the SQL and Power BI Tableau. These are the supporting tools. These are the awareness sessions. We are not mandatory in this this one. This is the just a awareness session. That is the reason we are not helping you on that. We are helping you in the standard tools. That is a mandatory as a business analyst.
Yes. Means for importing, like while we using SQL, importing those how to use that SQL right now, you said, right? That guiding means how to do in a real-time application of SQL. Will you guide, sir, that one, even that one also you
Yeah,
want, sir?
Arsha, actually the business analyst will not at all prepare the databases in the backend process. The
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
developers will be there, the developers will create the database. As a business analyst, you just create, just you have to awareness on the
Awareness.
SQL.
You have to be aware of that.
Just to have to learn about the few basic commands, how it's work. So I will
Yes, sir.
show you
Okay,
the
sir.
installation process of this basic installation process. First, you have to click on the SQL Server Management Studio. Then actually in the organization, we have a password. If you want to install the practices purpose, you don't have to just mention the password. So this is the SQL predefined SQL objects. These are the canvas area where we can create the SQL.
Sir, will you give us access regarding the same, that password credentials?
No. From COEPD side, we don't have an access to the SQL. So
Okay.
SQL you have to install by yourself only. So now I will show you how to write the basic SQL queries by using the SQL tool. I will show I have an sample SQL tool. So based on that, I will show you how to write a basic SQL queries for your understanding how it's work in the backend process.
Okay.
Can you all see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, guys, this is the SQL interface. So where we are going to create some basic SQL queries here. So first, when you are opening the SQL, so the developers will do create an first database. First, I want to create one database. So I just simply click on this database. Click on, see, these are the predefined databases. These are the predefined SQL database, not our side. These are SQL databases. Database security, these all the security, the security will be maintained the SQL database. These are not at all involved in that. So if you want to create a database, you can simply click on the new database. So here I'm going to name as a new project. My database name is a new project. So then after that, you can simply click on the OK. So here your database is created. So where did you see that database? So you can simply click on the plus button here, plus symbol. See, your database is created here. New project. This is your database. So in the database, if you want to create a tables in the database, you can simply click on this your new project is a database. Then after that, click on the new query. So in that new query, we are going to create a tables. Here we are going to create a new tables. So now I will explain you how to create an tables and how to insert the data, everything I will show you. First, we are going to create a table by using the create command. Create. So here we are going to create table, right? So you have to give the name as a table. Create table. So I'm going to give the table name as a student details. Student details. Then after that, you can close this. So here I'm going to create one table. First, I'm going to create the student ID. Student ID. So here we are going to give the data type because of the computer will don't know, right? What is this ID? So at that time, we are going to the data type. So int, I'm going to give the int. Int is nothing but the system will understand that this is the number. This is the one numerical number. So at that time, we are going to use the data type. So int will define the numerical values. Student ID is a number. So that is the reason I'm going to mention as a int. Int means an integer. And student name.
Text.
Student name. Text. This is on text, right? This is on character. At that time, I'm going to use the data type that is a varchar. The varchar will define the characters. Varchar. So I'm going to limit to my student name. What is the use of this limit? So if you give the limit, so the data will be back in the database will be the not waste. So if you give the value, the particular name will be stored in the particular limit only. And the next I'm going to give the student location. Student location. Student location also varchar. So I'm going to give the varchar. So again, I'm going to give the 200.
Hi, can varchar store numbers plus alphabets?
No. The varchar will define the character. This is the store that this is the perspective of this system database. We just when we are creating the database, This will help you how much data you want to store in the particular field. At that time, you are going to use this number. If you want to store the any data in the numbers, at that time, you are going to use the int.
No, for example, location can have, let's say, sector number and other
No,
characters.
we are not going to think about all this. If you want to give the sector number, you have to create the one more column.
Okay, perfect.
Next, student class. So I'm just creating the basic one here. So just understanding purpose. So I'm just to close this. So see, I will create a 3 names with here. I'm going to execute this table. So you can select this table, then execute. See, the command was successfully. The command completed successfully. If you want to see the data, at that time, we are going to use the select command. Select from where I'm going to select the star from where this is the table, student details. I'm going to see from the student details. So I'm going to give the student details. My table name, student details. So again, now we can select this, execute. See, student ID, student name, student location, student class. So if you want to enter into the data into that table, so then insert, I'm going to use the insert command. Insert into which table? I'm going to insert into the student table, student details. See, here I'm going to give the attribute. We call as an attribute, we call as an values. So again, you can close this. So here the number ID 1, comma, and next to name. If you want to write the any characters in the insert to the table, make sure you have to use the quotation marks. So John, comma, next location, Hyderabad. Sorry. Hyderabad. Next comma. Next locate. Sorry, student name we missed it. I think so. Student ID. Student ID, student name, student location. Okay. And student class. Student class 4th. So now I'm closing this one. See. Again, I'm going to select this one. Click on execute. One row is affected. Already the data is being inserted. If you want to see that data, again, you can just simply click on the select data from database. See, the data is inserted into the tables. So if you want to enter the multiple data, so you can simply type, select this one. Again, you can select the table, execute. See, 2 rows are changed. If you want to change these numbers, gosh. So if you want to change the location, so then you can execute. One row affected. If you want to see the data, again, you have to select the SQL is not at all complicated, so you can easily understand, you can easily learn this SQL. This is very not at all complicated to learn this SQL. So if you want to delete the complete table, entire table, you can use the drop command. Drop table. Drop table. So table name, student details. So again, I'm going to select this. The table is deleted. See, if I want to see the table, so here there is error, invalid object end, because of we are completely deleting the table. So if you want to create the table again we have to select that, execute. If you want to see the data again, you can see the data. See, like that you have to read the table. Now we are going to understand about this primary key and identifier. So for example, when you are working on an organization, every employee has not only the only one employee ID, right? So every employee has a own employee IDs, different IDs. So at that time, sometimes the developers will enter the by mistakenly will enter the repeated values. If you want to control that repeated values, we can use the primary key. The primary key will identify the unique values. See, I will explain you that one also. So I'm drop the table completely. So the table is completely deleted. So here, if you want to give the primary key, make sure you have to give the first one, employee ID.
So primary key is an unique number, no?
Yes, yes, I identify the unique numbers.
Okay.
See, primary key, I will give the primary key here.
Employee ID is primary key then.
Wait, I will explain you, wait. See, if I'm access it, if the database is created. So if you want to see that, one row is affected. So now we are going to, again, if you want to if you want to, again, you have to select this one. It will be showing as an error because of we are giving the primary actor. Because of two values are the two. When we are creating the database, this will be coming to the two values. See, violation of the primary key constraint. Because of already here, the first row is already contains a 2 value and 4 value. Again, if you repeat that, it will be not accepted that. So again, I'm going to drop the table. And now I'm going to explain you the identifier. Identifier. I think it will be not coming here. So again, I'm going to repeat the table. So because of if you're deleting the table, after deleting the table, if you want to enter the data, it will be showing as an invalid because of you completely delete the data. So identifier is don't need it. So enter know that. So identify is nothing but if you are giving the values, if you want to values will be automatically at that time you are going to use the identifier. Actually, in this when I'm giving to the identifier, it will be not accepted here. It will be showing as an error. So this is how we create the databases in the backend process.
Sir, this handle deal by database manager admin net.
Yes,
We want
exactly. Yes,
just
exactly.
we need to aware. Okay.
Just as a business analyst, make sure you have to create an awareness how the backend process will be work.
Sir,
Okay.
in most of the JDs that you find in LinkedIn,
Mhm.
it's written that you should be knowing about basic understanding or intermediate understanding of SQL. So is that this the things that we need to know, or basically we have to
No,
do?
see, the companies will always to employ has a good knowledge. They have an added advantage. So they definitely will ask us some level of SQL knowledge. But when we are working on a project, we don't work on the SQL databases. Just as a business analyst, just to create an awareness. They are asking the awareness.
Okay, sir, is it a domain specific or it's normal to everyone? Because,
Yeah, normal
for
to
example,
everyone.
And what are the things they can ask, sir, like during the interview for us regarding SQL?
So please remember during the interviews, they are asking the commands like what is the use of the create command, what is the use of the select command, what is the use of the drop command. They're asking the definitions.
Okay, so nothing deep or descriptive, right, sir?
No.
Only the basic fundamentals.
Yes, it's basic fundamental. If you want to learn by personal, you can learn the SQL. That is no problem. It will be help you in future also.
Right, sir.
Because of every organization will be today maintain the data. Based on the data, they are going to enter into the market with the new strategies. So if you learn the SQL, it's a good for you.
So basic level of table, how to create a table and all, like they can ask and we can work on.
No, no, no. Most of the we are seeing the most of the participants were from the COEPD. No one has raised a interview assistant regarding this SQL from till now.
Okay. Okay.
So most of the they are asking related to the business analysis concept. They are preparing the BID documents, some related like that. So they are not asking about in the deep into the SQL. They are asking
Yeah.
SQL just to create awareness.
Got it. So some sort of definitions you are asking, like whichever thing.
Like
Yes,
some sort of the definitions, like how to create a table, like to creating the table, what are the commands you are going to use. Let's basic awareness.
okay.
If you want to learn that by personally, you can learn that. That's no problem.
Yeah, that's quite important. This and Power BI, this would be quite big future also.
Yes, exactly. Everyone is clear?
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir.
Yes, Arsha.
Yeah, sir. If you don't mind, could you once again repeat the individual elements accessed at that time? I had asked you said, but some voice breaking had happened, and could you please repeat it just as this?
What is the difference between this DBMS and RDMS, right?
Yeah, sir. In that, in this DBMS as a whole, aggregated values can be implemented, like can be seen. But in this RDBMS, individual elements can be accessed like that one. Could you please repeat, sir, that one?
Individual access is nothing but, for example, I am a database administrator. You are the some employee of the company. Okay. So you
Yes,
want
sir.
you want database access to see the data to prepare a reports. At that time, I'm a database administrator. I'm giving the access to see the data. So you also access the data. I'm also access the data. Someone also access the data. So with my permission, you can access any data in SQL databases. You can enter the everyone will enter.
Granting revoking permissions.
Yes,
Access.
yes. At the time you can use the data.
I see.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Rahul.
Yeah,
Guys,
for
please
saving,
mute yourself.
we have to give the comment, sir.
Sorry.
For saving purpose data, what we have to give the comments.
So in the saving purpose, we just simply click on the save file. Automatically, the data file will be saved into the solution. We have to save all the database. We want to save that, so you can save the data.
Okay.
For creating it to saving the database in the backend process, we are using the different keyword like keys. It's an confidential keys. So make sure everyone should aware on the SQL, how it works and what are the process in the backend process. Make sure everyone will understand about the SQL. So like if you want to learn by personally, make sure you have to learn the SQL in the very in detail. This will help you on the future also.
Okay.
Guys, so the session is over. If you have any doubts, you can ask me.
So, sir, like for example, we want to learn SQL. So, from W3 learning, like I'm learning right now, also like I'm practicing that thing. So, a basic level should I learn so for the future
Basic
or
level.
somewhat in
Just basic level is enough to enter into the business analysis. After that, when you are entering the project, you can closely work with the developers, right? At that time, you can learn the complete SQL.
Okay, okay.
If we know this SQL in the basic mode, and when we are going into like Tableau or Power BI, so will there be some kind of need in this? Like we have to write those things in that, or something which is related to?
Make sure you can, with the help of the like developers only, you can create the reports. So just you can just understand the databases. When we are creating the reports, we just with the help of the developers, we can create the reports. For example, we need the one databases. With the help of the developers, we ask to the developers, I need this database. Could you help me? Look like this, you have to conversation between, right? Same, the developer will help you on that to get the data to create a reports by using the Power BI Tableau. The Power BI Tableau is directly connected to the SQL database. If you want to connect to the directly to the SQL database, you can directly connect to that.
Right.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So one thing I want to understand that I am also observing that you are avoiding giving space between the commands like in student details or student name or student ID. You are not giving space, avoiding it. What is the reason, sir?
So I say identify the data type. For example, if you are giving the when value, the computer we don't know, right? The computer will compile that with the data type.
Okay. So means we cannot give space between
the computer will don't know understand the right, this is the name or this is the number. At that time, you're going to use the data type. So data type is will be identify this to compile to the system computer.
Okay. Okay. And one more thing, sir. In the student name, you strictly like put 200, right? So it is for restricting data in like 200 characters, or you don't want to more than in numbers 200.
So why I mentioned that 200 is I want to save the data. So that is the reason I mentioned that 200.
Okay. So in rows, it will not go up above 200. That
yes,
is what you. Okay.
Yes, the worker will accept the more than the 3000 plus characters.
Okay.
So I just I'm save the data. So that is the reason I mentioned this 200. It's will show that the data is gigabytes.
Okay. Got it.
I don't want to waste the backend database. So that is the reason I mentioned the 200 as my gigabyte.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the attending the session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So when will you upload on YouTube?
Sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I wanted to ask, when will you upload it on the YouTube channel?
Tomorrow.
Video?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.